How's your bucket tea?
It's bucket-like.
That's not the only one. That was one of them. It's Wednesday. I'm kind of surprised that I knew that off the cuff. Never know what day it is. Hope you're doing well, wherever it is you are. It's beautiful. Like, the weather's been lovely. It just starts out freezing. So like, you start out wearing thermals, and then by the end of the day, you feel warm in your coat. How do you handle it? With love. I don't know. I'm enjoying it. It's honestly very nice. I'm not going to complain over some sunshine. Today I'm working with Jess in the morning. She's back in action after taking a little bit of vacay. Seeing Lisa for lunch. Waiting for this siren to go by. And then I have a meeting with my accountants, a Zoom meeting or whatever with my accountants this afternoon to talk about taxes and bills and stuff. Yay, that'll be great. Anyways, we'll have some fun along the way, I'm sure. And I've kind of been thinking about talking about presents. And you may have noticed in the past that I've had like some mild anxieties when people send me things. And you may have also noticed that that's changed. Like, I don't anymore. I'm actually pretty excited when most people send me stuff. Like when Tim sent me that box yesterday, I was stoked and well rewarded for being stoked. And before that, Amy sent me cookies, and you guys are lovely. And they're lovely. That's lovely. I appreciate it so much. But I also thought I should talk about like why it's been a struggle in the past, because it's come up and I've never really talked about it at length. You know, and I kind of want those of you that maybe have noticed that I was like a little bit terrified to open a package. I want you to know why that is. It's not you, it's me. And maybe you never noticed and you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Well, I hope that, you know, this connects with you in one way or another anyways. But I gotta finish running first. Whoa! And then, and crouching down like that in the middle of a run. Whew, you feel it. I've always been a little bit scared to talk about this because it's something that's pretty, you know, it runs pretty deep. I guess I'm more reluctant to talk about it because I've been worried that it would come across like I'm still holding grudges about it, or that it would somehow come across wrong to those of you that have been kind and generous enough to send me anything. I don't want that to be the case at all. And so I've kind of avoided it because I also just haven't been sure how to talk about it. And it's not something that I've directly been dealing with in therapy, but it is something that has kind of come up, or the core issues of it have come up. And it's been good to deal with. And I feel like I'm moving on right along. So I also don't want to just brush it under the rug and never talk about it. It's been on my list of things that I would like to address, and that I feel like would be good to process on the vlog style therapy, which I haven't done in a while. So yeah, that's kind of where this has been. That's why it's been on park or in the parking lot for a while. That are wondering why I'm still here after making that video that we were losing the place. It's just that we're losing it soon. I don't know when, but soon. And I was gonna make the video about like where this was and everything else a while ago. Just didn't want to give away the surprise that John was retiring too soon. It was, you know, private information. So that dictated, you know, the timing. We'll keep using it as long as we have it, which hopefully is at least another couple weeks. On the gift side, maybe some of you will identify with this. Maybe some of you won't. But what I realized was that I would get really, really anxious about receiving presents, and not just presents from people I didn't know, but from friends, from family, from anybody. I used to really like giving them. I really liked, taking the time to think through like what would mean something to this person, what would be something that they really wanted, that they maybe said offhand that they forgot about, or that I see something and it makes me think of them. And I'm like, oh man, this would be great for them. Like I really, really enjoy gift giving and being generous, but I would get really anxious about it when I was receiving a gift from pretty much anybody. I don't know that I realized that was a thing for a long time. I just thought that I hated getting gifts and took that as like a personality thing. Like, oh, I like giving, but not receiving. The thing is, of course, we all like getting gifts at some level. Who doesn't like getting nice, thoughtful things from people? And I came to realize that this is like a real anxiety that had nothing to do with whether or not I liked getting gifts, because occasionally I would get a gift that I really liked. My sister is very good at giving gifts. She's very thoughtful and has made an effort over the last decade, especially I think over our adult lives, to redeem this for me, and I really appreciate that. But I would still get I'd freak out a little bit and just be like, almost like, don't do this, or why'd you do this, instead of just being grateful, which is what I want to be always, above so many things, is grateful. So this was a problem. Clearly something that needed to change. And it's been very helpful to kind of go back and recognize like, oh, I kind of see where this came from. And it wasn't that I was entirely unaware of it. I was very aware that like growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. And so I kind of took it as much as anything as a kid. Like the way I rationalized things was that like, oh, we just can't afford to be given nice things. So for Christmas or for birthdays or whatever, I never got anything that I really wanted. And I learned pretty early on as a kid, this is actually really hard to share, especially publicly, but I'm figuring this all out, and I appreciate your patience with me. But I feel like I would put myself out there and I would say like, oh, this is what I want, and I would never ever get what I wanted. And as a kid, I would get kind of snarky about it, and I would put what I actually wanted at the bottom of a very long list of things that I knew I couldn't have. Like I would write like, I want a yacht, and I want like a car, and like whatever. And I would just write all this stuff out there to kind of highlight like, hey, look, I'm not asking for anything outrageous. Really, like all I want is just this little thing at the bottom, like a Nintendo, for example. Like I always wanted like my own Nintendo or Super Nintendo as a kid, for example. And I ended up working for it over the summer, mowing lawns to get it for myself. But I never realized until recently, and even talking about this right now, thinking about it, like the emotion that was going through me was feeling like, well, fine, I'll just get it myself. And it wasn't about the thing. It was that I started to assume that I just wasn't worth getting that thing. I wasn't worth the effort or the time, whatever it was. I wasn't worth somebody taking the time to really understand me, what I wanted, and put in the extra effort to give something to me. So I had to go out and do that for myself. Good morning. Every time we use the buzzer to let somebody in, I feel like I'm in an episode of Seinfeld or some 90s show from New York where you buzz people in. I didn't get to do this when I was a kid either. It's kind of fun. I like it. And then you open it and you walk away, and then the person shows up. It's so cool. I love it. It's like, it's city living. Oh, I forgot I have my coffee in here.
Hello.
Good morning.
Hi.
Oh, they're working across the hall. I was going to try and look busy and interesting for when you arrived, but then I got distracted by coffee.
I thought you'd stand there and look cool and interesting instead.
You look good.
See?
I like your hair.
Oh, thanks. You're a bit late, so I did my hair. This is a bit.
I was very late, yeah. Combine that then with the anxieties of like wanting the person who gave me a gift to be happy when opening the present, when reacting to whatever was inside. And then also, consistently as a kid and growing up, like always being disappointed with what was inside, and then feeling that awkward tension to be like, hi, thank you. Oh my gosh, it's terrible. When you think about it, it's like, wow, holy cow. Just not a great feeling. Yeah, that kind of brought this, like, it's a reactive anxiety that I had that kind of stuck with me into adulthood. And I recognized this when people started leaving me things at the Peloton or sending things. That I had the same kind of reaction, even if the person wasn't there when opening it. I would be like, especially if I was opening it on camera, I would get really anxious because they were like, what's in this? Am I actually going to like it? Do I need to pretend to like it even if I don't like all of that? And the good thing is, what I'm getting to basically is that you've actually been very helpful
collectively, those of you that have been so kind as to send or leave things. So many of you, most of you, the vast majority of you have sent very thoughtful, very kind gifts. Like I highlighted yesterday, or maybe even today, we already talked about this. I don't know, the day's getting away from me, but the chips and salsa from Tim and the Girl Scout cookies and all that stuff is so thoughtful. I love all that stuff. Like that makes me feel seen and understood and loved, you know. Same with Amy sending me cookies and just saying, it looked like you could use a bag of cookies to make your day better. To receive some fresh baked cookies from somebody like that, it's just a generous, an overwhelming amount of cookies, you know, just like, it's so kind. And my reaction to these things when I'm opening them, I've also recognized is so much better. Like I see it and I actually do start to get excited now, because I believe that what's going to be inside is something that I'm actually going to want, and something that I'm actually, you know, reasonably can be excited about. And so in a very interesting, cool, weird way, like I want to thank you, everybody that's ever, you know, smuggled tortilla chips over from the States, or, you know, just sent thoughtful, nice things, or left me something nice. I'm not perfect about it still, and I hope that I've never offended anybody by not being excited or not liking what you've sent. And to be fair, that's just one of the things I've had to learn and get over, is the fact that, you know, I'm not going to like everything, and that's okay. I don't have to. And if that upsets somebody, that's on their side of things. It's just something that I've got to figure out as well still. But the generosity and the kindness and the thoughtfulness of so many of you, and the consistency of that, where things have been so consistently good and kind and thoughtful, and even sending things for friends of mine or the Peloton to help pay for the post office box tax, you know, it's changed that for me. It's set a different example for me, and it's set a different interaction and feeling around that whole situation. And that in and of itself is a really, I mean, it's a really big gift in and of itself. So thanks to everybody who has participated in that. I mean, and thank you for your patience. And for those of you that sent me things that I didn't like or didn't end up showing for one reason or another, I've gotten some very intense letters explaining how I'm going to hell, things like that I think are sent in a very, I think they're meant in a good way. I'm sure they're meant in a good way. But I'm never going to show that on camera. I'm just going to tear them up and throw them away. And that's actually a sign of growth too. In the past, I would have felt so guilty for not appreciating somebody telling me how I'm going to go to hell. But now I'm not so concerned about it anymore. It's not my problem. So thank you so very much for just being a part of that process. And it's coming around, you know, like I'm learning to deal with the inner workings of that, the past, and how it carries on into the future. And this is also where I would say that, like, you know, going to therapy for the last year and talking to somebody through this, we haven't talked specifically about gifts, but everything is interrelated, and being able to talk about different things in my life, different things that have stuck with me, that have made me anxious about stupid things, whatever, has basically untangled a bunch of knots that had related things like this tied into them. So yeah, I'm grateful for that. And if you're ever thinking about getting into therapy yourself, I would encourage, I mean, just as I highly recommend it. And as Jenica would say, it's not necessarily that you need therapy, it's that everybody deserves therapy. It's good for you. And even if you're feeling like you're healthy and you couldn't possibly need it, that's exactly where I was for a really long time before coming to realize that I could use it. And now I feel like, yeah, I can imagine digging deep and learning more about myself and becoming the healthiest, happiest version of myself over the rest of my life. It's a journey. And that's one of the good things that actually came out of therapy recently, now that I think about it. I'm doing the full tour of the apartment here today, but one of the things that my therapist actually challenged me on, because I was talking about how, like, I want to be a happier, healthier version of myself. I wish I was further down the line than I am. She asked me if I wasn't confusing the destination for the journey, or the journey for the destination, either way. And asked, like, aren't you though? Aren't you like a healthy version of yourself? Like you're pursuing these things, you're trying to grow, you're trying to be that version of yourself. And isn't that exactly where you need to be? And I don't know, it just kind of clicked, and it feels like, yeah, okay. There's a lot of room to grow. There's a lot to figure out, but at the same time, yeah, I can be proud of myself for getting to where I'm at. Anyways, that was just a total aside. I do recommend doing the therapy if you ever are thinking about it. And the other thing is, I think I've communicated very clearly, but just to be sure, thank you to everybody who has sent me stuff. It has meant a lot. I'm sorry if I was ever not if the reaction I had or the like anticipation in the moment was a little bit weird. Hopefully it just never was. It's been a good thing to work on. And also, hopefully none of you are concerned that you did any damage by sending me anything. And also don't worry about, I mean, it's very kind and I really appreciate it, but it's also really expensive to ship stuff overseas. It's not expected or asked for in that sense. It's very much appreciated. I really, really appreciate it. But I don't know, I just wanted to share a little bit of the experience, where I'm at, a little bit of the journey, and that's the purpose of talking about it in today's video. So anyways, Jess went to the post office to get some stuff, stamps mostly, and we're setting up Patreon stickers and so forth today. We're gonna meet Sam and Linda for lunch, I think, and Lisa, I think, is joining us. I don't really know what's happening anymore. We're just gonna go sit outside in the park and be, you know, physically distanced, but socially present is the goal with that. So let's cut to lunch. We got pot stickers, and it took me a second to remember, what do we call those back? I think we call them pot stickers back in the States. Maybe we call them dumplings as well. Same thing. Anyway, we'll meet Sam and Linda here in the park, and manja. I'm so hungry. How's your bucket tea?
It's bucket.
These will be good though.
And then there's this
There wasn't going to be any judgment, but... This is Natasha's favorite dumpling spot in Paris, I think. She took me by the other one once when it was closed. So I never got to try it with her while she was living here. But it makes me think of her. Just in case she sees this. I miss her. Hola, señorita. ¿Qué pasa? All right, quick break on the walk right by the prefecture de police. So, the entrance, I think it might be open. Anyways, we're gonna try and get my titre séjour just for the heck of it, see what happens. It's like blocked off though. The main entrance is closed for the day, so it was a worthy effort. Still waiting to find out when I can come back in, but I think maybe I'll just pop in one of these mornings and just ask, because theoretically it's here, I hope. Anyways, I think Lisa's under the impression that every time I make a video, it's on a specific subject that I ask my friends about, so we gotta come up with something and we'll see if we spring it on her. Oh God, that refresh rate. That looks awesome. All right, now we can go. I haven't had a crepe in a long time. There's no Nutella on the first part. This first bite's gonna be all crepe. Unless I go big. I also haven't had Nutella in a long time. Do they have crepes in Ukraine?
Not like this.
No? That was the only question I had for you today.
You had no idea we were gonna have a crepe.
What do you mean? I totally orchestrated this whole thing. I knew we were gonna have crepes.
No, that was my idea. That's still my idea.
I made you think it was your idea.
No, I know it was my idea because I had this idea since yesterday.
Maybe I mentioned crepes 2 days ago.
Well, okay, then no.
She's hunting for invaders. That's not the only one. That was one of them. There's at least one more right here, but you can't really see it. You're gonna have to move around to find it. All right, while she's hunting for invaders, thanks to Karen Lee, today's patron producer, for putting this on, sending us out for some crepes and a little bit of last minute invader hunting before, I guess, curfew falls. I appreciate having you here. Thank you very much. It's over there. Not that guy. You'll see it here shortly. There you go. Anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning for a little bit of a moving day special, helping some friends move house. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. Did you get it? Woo!